It is my first hit, brought to you by Sampra. Love the beat, play for play. And every single week we bring in the finest names in South African music. People who have helped us create outstanding memories because they've made music that lasts forever. I'm joined by somebody who is immensely talented. She's a singer, she's a songwriter, and somebody that kind of just blew up. Some may say literally out of nowhere. Some may say just literally by her own efforts. Her name is Elaine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you well?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm good. The last time you and I spoke was during lockdown.
I know.
We were doing, was it an online interview?
One of those things. You know, that era was it's such a blur.
It was wild, eh?
It was a wild era.
All those Insta Live interviews.
I remember that. That was actually, I think, like my first Insta Live with
Really?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was, I think maybe a year after you'd kind of gotten onto the scene almost, right?
I think it was even sooner.
Even sooner.
A year might have been a stretch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you're the one sort of dropped, what was it, 2019?
2019
Yeah.
September. Yeah.
And one thing
Around about this time.
One thing that stood out for me in that chat with you is that you were still very conservative, still under a lot of guidance. So from that moment to now, how much has changed in your world and in how you do what you do?
I want to say everything has changed, but you know how sometimes the more things change, the more they sort of stay the same. So I could say a lot has changed. I mean, at the time I was like 20 years old. I'm 25 now.
Sure.
So relationships are different.
Yeah.
My approach to life is different. You know, the things that I'm interested in are slightly different. I mean, it's always been music, but now I think I'm growing more into myself, into fashion and things like that. But yeah, I think overall still the same babe, just bigger dreams, bigger goals, and I'm more strict. Believe it or not.
What do you mean more strict? Strict
I
how?
don't know. I feel like back then I was just like the cool girl.
Yeah?
I'm not a cool girl anymore.
Come on, you're still in your mid-20s.
No, cool isn't like dope. Like, yeah, I'm a dope babe, but like I'm very strict. You know, with my boundaries, with the type of people I surround myself with, who I allow into my space.
Sure.
Yeah, very intentional with things like that.
R&B for many is a brave genre to get into as a South African artist. And I've heard this a lot. Do you feel the same way?
I never thought it was anything brave of me to do. It was only the most natural thing for me to do, you know. But from a different perspective, I can say it's not easy to break into the South African market as an R&B act.
So how did you do it?
Oh my goodness, I'm the one, you know, the chosen, the chosen one. God just said, you know what, girl, take this thing and run with it. But honestly, I don't know. I like to give it all to God. It's God's grace. And I think South Africa actually really resonated with what I had to say, you know, which was coming from a very vulnerable, very honest place, which is what also makes me feel so appreciated and so loved that, oh my goodness, I was being so honest and so vulnerable and I was so sad and a lot of things were going on. But the country was just like, don't worry, babe.
You're the
These
one.
tears of yours, they won't go to waste. We're taking it to the top.
Listen, I want to take it to that moment again.
Oh my gosh.
Because we have to. Now that we're in it, let's go straight to it. It's Elaine. You're the one. This is her first hit, in case you're wondering. Well, this song has clarity and it's got class and every other C you can think of. It's Elaine. You're the one. The EP's Elements.
Yeah.
And this was your first hit. This is a song that made your name come alive.
Can you imagine? It was my first anything, really. Like, it was my first time ever, like, putting out music like that. First EP, first project, first everything, really.
And who helped you craft this idea? And what were they saying at home also?
So, it was actually a very secretive thing that I was doing.
Right.
I was in university at the time, full-time law student at Wits. And, you know, my dad is a very strict vendor man. So it was academics or please don't waste his time. So I really kept it on the down low. And I had two friends of mine, Elise and Clarity. Clarity is actually a producer. It's not like some deep thing that I'm saying. Like, it's actually producer tag.
Musicians will say things and use words and we misunderstand. I just thought you meant like clarity as in like in life.
Listen, you and the rest of the nation, trust me. But it's actually the producer and that's his producer tag. But I didn't like it because he's like more of a hip hop producer. So I was like, man, this is aggressive, you know, let's make it more R&B. And I just had this crazy idea to put together an EP while I was in university. I was like, damn, the books are really not giving me that fire, that passion,
The clarity you're looking for.
The clarity I'm just looking for, you
Yeah.
know. And I just moved to Johannesburg and I was like, man, I want to make things happen, you know. Little girl from Pretoria, I have dreams. Apparently Joburg is where it's popping. I'm like, let's see.
Yeah.
And Clarity just happened to be studying at ASE, which is down the road from Wits.
Oh, yes, the Academy of Sound.
Yes.
Yes.
So in between lectures, I would be like, I'm out, guys. Like, I'm going to go, you know, figure it out with Clarity. And we'd be there at the SABC studios as well, the ASE studios, trying to really figure it out. And Elise, who co-produced, he did 4 tracks. Clarity did 3 tracks. He was all the way in Randburg. So I was just like driving up and down Joburg, like telling these people my stories, singing my heart out.
And meanwhile, folks don't know anything.
Folks are thinking, Kabala, like...
Our child is working
child
so
was
hard.
working, and I was shame. I was also part of the Golden Key University, so I had like a really good cover, you know, getting really, really good marks. So they really didn't suspect anything. And then the 2 producers who really supported me through the journey of writing, creating, were just like, man, this is amazing. Why don't you just drop one song or a couple of songs, you know, and then maybe if one blows up, we take it from there. I was like, I want to drop all 7 same time now. And they were like, babe, you have 300 followers, like you're on private. It's
gonna be a hard act.
you know, it's not what you think it is, you know. And I was like,
but then you went ahead anyway.
I went ahead, yeah. I dropped the link on Twitter and I switched my phone off. The next day in the lecture hall, everyone was just like pointing, and I'm like, I'm not that popular, guys.
Wow.
Like, I'm a very low key babe. Leave the lecture hall early because it was getting very awkward. I switched on my phone and life had changed. Number 1.
That's crazy.
First independent artist to go number 1 in South Africa.
Yeah, in fact, I'll give it to you more eloquently, right?
Okay.
Her debut EP, Elements, became a sensation. It reached number 1 on both national iTunes and Apple Music album charts, making Elaine the first independent female artist in South Africa to achieve this feat.
Oh my gosh, when you say it.
And then at home, when they realized that, first of all, were they in doubt that it was you? Were they like, is this the same person?
Listen, my mom called me when she heard the song playing on the radio and was like, apparently there's a girl called Elaine and she's singing and she's number 1. And I'm like, maybe. She's like, hey, boy, hi, we need to talk, you know. And that's when I broke it down to them. I was like, guys, I'm actually like really serious about it.
Did they give you their blessings?
Oh my goodness, more than they could have.
Beautiful.
Every day they give me blessings, they give me support every single day. Like I hear from my mom first every single day, checking in. She knows the songs unreleased, word for word, bar for bar. She knows everything. My biggest supporters.
With your mental health struggles, how much of a role did music play in, and I'm talking about your music, in helping you along the way?
Massive. There's a point where all I listened to was like my unreleased music, which you know, my fans will hear on the album, but that was sort of like my remedy to a lot of things that I was going through, just constantly listening to myself.
Sure.
So by the time I actually put out the music, I'm just like, I don't even want to hear it anymore because it's held me down. I've cried to it. I've healed to it. I'm just like, you guys can have it. Let it do for you what it's done for me, you know? So I have a very, you know, strong relationship with my music.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
The thing is, Elaine, you have to make a living out of this. It's not like, yes, it's for fun because it's enjoyable and it's an art form and it's your craft. Did you have that in the back of your mind when you started, or is it something that you learned along the way that, hey, we don't just jump into the studio and start recording? And what did you do to try and, bring yourself up to speed with the business side, even having your music protected, knowing what, for example, a Sampra is, etc.?
I definitely think, you know, I got into this industry at such a young age, you know, so from jump, it was always just, oh, I love it. I want to sing. I want to put it out. This is so much fun. But I think as soon as I got into it, I was like, oh, no, you need to switch on. You know, there's so many things that you need to learn about, especially because my biggest priority is my record label. You know, a lot of my music, if not all my music, is released through my record label, Elaine Music.
Beautiful.
Which has forced me to, you know, take an even more stern role in learning, you know, music business, in learning what the different platforms are. For example, when it comes to the collection societies as well, they've been a huge help, you know, in sort of having that stepping stone from artist to exec, or artist to CEO, or artist to businesswoman. I think that's the shift in it.
Sure.
And I think going to school also really helped me a lot when it comes to the admin, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reading.
Yeah, the admin part is quite intense. And I know a lot of people struggle with the balance between being the artist and being the person that has to look after the admin of being an artist.
It's insane.
Sure.
And I think for like it took me almost like over a year to really understand the admin, because it's not like there's like a tutorial and like,
Sure.
you know, after your first hit, here's what happens, you know, here's how it goes.
Absolutely.
It's actually very, very difficult to find your way, especially as, you know, a young Black woman that's really trying to break boundaries, that's also trying to break into an international market. It's really a lot.
Sure. Speaking of documenting, you've done that well musically, but you also have a docu. Let's take a listen to this.
Love will take you higher, baby.
Growing up in a small family taught me the importance of keeping your circle small. Being able to trust and love unconditionally has helped build me and has been the source of my passion. When I sing, I feel seen. I feel alive. There's a special type of power that comes with being undermined and overlooked for a long time. You realize how much you really have to root for yourself in all instances of life. It's just you, your dreams, and your demons.
This is what it looks like.
Didn't realize it was that deep.
That is your short docu that you put out, right?
Yeah.
It's called The Shining Star.
Correct.
What is the essence behind this? Is it part of the process of healing? Why did you feel the need to document your life even further?
I think more than anything, it's to connect with my fan base. When I'm giving parts of myself, which isn't music, you know, if I'm letting people into how I grew up, my family, things like that, it's more so that we have a connection beyond the music, you know. And I still feel like I have more work to do when it comes to that, because there's still so much misunderstanding around me. People think I'm not South African. People,
It's this thing of you moving countries.
No. You know, when I speak vernac, people are shook. Like, people want to faint. I'm just like, guys, it's you know, yeah.
So it covers a certain aspect of your life that doesn't always come through in the fore.
100%. And it's also just like a creative outlet. I love creating content. I love it.
So where can people check out the docu?
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's been on YouTube for a while. There'll be a lot more content coming out with this album. I'm super excited. It's a visual album, so you guys are going to be sick of me. But yeah, YouTube is my bestie.
Done.
Yeah.
Obviously, new music is out, waiting on you. Do you have a date in terms of your album release?
You see, Mo, those questions make me so nervous. Like, there is a date, but I don't want to put it on blast.
Okay, fine.
So, you know, but it's coming, guys.
Before Christmas.
Of course.
No, that's all we need to know. That's all we need to know.
Of course.
So we'll definitely get to chat some more, Elaine, closer to the time and around. But I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to work on yourself as an artist, to work on every other aspect and matter and issue that you need to deal with, and still come out and give us more of yourself. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for this platform. You know, it's really important. I think artists also aren't aware of how important it is to register your music, you know, and it's actually very easy as an independent artist. I mean, Yvette is here in the studio as well. We have the CEO who's here as well. They are very hands-on, very helpful. I literally blow them up myself. Like, hey, the royalty di kenaning.
No, apparently there's payments in October coming. So.
I'm joking. But really, guys, even for like, you know, my colleagues out there, do tap in. You know, it's your work. You deserve to earn from it. You know, run your business, feed your family. So shout out.
Absolutely. It is singer-songwriter Elaine on My First Hit. It is brought to you by Sempra. Love the beat, pay for play.
Mo Flava on 947.